What's up, everybody? Holliwood and Kleer fire back for another HnK video game experience. What's up, Kleer?
What's going on, man?
This is your idea, dude. Monster Hunter Wilds. You excited?
Yeah, dude. I'm super hyped about it. I had a blast playing the beta last weekend.
Okay, yeah, I did too. So we both played the beta. So I don't know, man. So I played Monster Hunter, the one on the Wii U. That was the first experience I got with it. Now, I worked at a GameStop a long time ago, and one of the workers there was like, "You ever play this game, Monster Hunter?" It was on PS2. And I was like, "No, I don't know what it is." He said, "Oh, it's great. You kill monsters, you take their stuff, and you make armor and blah, blah, blah." Sounded cool, sounded my speed, but I never played it then. So then we got Monster Hunter. So when I got the Wii U, it was a limited library, so I got the Monster Hunter 3, I believe. And it was a lot different, man. I mean, it was like you ran out of waystones. You had to, everything was like limited. So you could go out there and really just get crushed. And then when you get in advanced hunts, they drop you off in the middle of nowhere, right? And so then Monster Hunter World comes along, and it's more of a mainstream type. Way more fun, I think.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah. And so we all played that for a little while. That was a fun game. And it's one of those games to me where I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not feeling Monster Hunter. But as soon as I turn it on, you're like, oh, dude, I'm about it. So
I loved it just because, I mean, with all the people we got to hang out with, dude. I mean, we got to play, the biggest thing out of it was got to play with Grifted, that was, world record holder with hunting horn and all that. He was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so were you in a clan or something, a guild?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to play with your... Was he in that guild or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. We played it. I played with your guild mates and you for a while.
All the time.
Yeah, and they were cool, man. They were cool dudes. I mean, that's what's so fun about it. And that, that opens up a whole nother game, dude. That stuff just changes the game. And so... here we go with Wilds, which is going to be kind of so they came out with Monster Hunter Rise right after that.
Yes. So Rise became more like along the lines of like the older ones. So you have like two different branches of Monster Hunter games. You have the old version and you have the new version. Old versions are the ones that are on the older consoles, and then including Rise. World introduced a whole new way of playing it. So in the old ones, and I didn't really play the old ones, I picked up a couple of them and tried it, and I didn't like it. Because when you would go from area to area, it was like you go through a loading screen. Whereas World, you just is open world, and you roam everywhere, and it's no big deal, So they made World more RPG-ish, and the other ones are kind of just like that old school kind of just a fighting warrior fight, trying to fight monsters, really. It's just a different way they took it on. But Wilds is supposed to be like a continuation of World. It's not the same characters and everything, but it's in that same construct, that same development of it. And so... when I heard about it, I was like, oh, wow, they got another one coming out like that? That might be up my alley there. And I started looking and reading on things, and I got hyped really quick for it. And, of course, I pre-ordered it. I got my Steelbook coming. Hopefully it'll get here before the 28th, which is next Friday. And that's when it releases next Friday, so I'm pumped. And
Steelbook, yeah.
Oh, yeah, always Steelbook, man. If I can get Steelbook, always.
Well, so... yeah, so I did play a lot of the 3 that was different. I just thought that was the way it was. And then World, like you said, we've had the crew running. That was what was so fun about it. And then, so you said you played Rise, you didn't like it, and then I don't know, man. I did like Worlds a whole lot, and I ended up getting Iceborne. I never played.
Yep.
Is it Ice? Yeah, I didn't.
It's Iceborne.
I've killed like 2 monsters on Iceborne. And
same here. I didn't do much on Iceborne
because at that point everybody kind of quit,
Yeah, it really did. It kind of dropped off. So they had a really cool Steelbook that was like this big, like mini, like you could fit like a GameCube game inside of it,
digital
like that
download
small.
code in it.
Yeah, it was Well, I just got the Steelbook. I'd already got. So I just when I did Iceborne, I just did the digital download part of it.
So you had a little steelbook for just the Iceborne? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got a steelbook for just Iceborne that's like this big. Like, it's tiny.
That's funny.
Like, it's so funny. It makes me laugh every time I look at it. But it's like I had to get it because it's very unique. It's very random.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I did that, and I really didn't play Iceborne that much. But yeah, like Holliwood was saying, by that time, a lot of our crew had kind of dropped off and moved on to other things, life and all that good stuff. So Groot even, I think at the time, had a kid or was about to have a kid, and that's why he dropped.
Yeah. So anyway, we started off this. So this is kind of the thing, at least for me as an OCD type of guy. But I had to get those dual blades when we first started on Monster Hunter World, because I can't have some big sword or big hammer and just wind up, woo, 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 and miss. I just drives me crazy. I'm like, dude. And then, so I'd had to be hitting if I'm pushing the button. And so, but eventually I did switch to Insect Glaive, and I love Insect Glaive. That's my favorite one. And so, the reason I bring that up, because we'll talk about it in Wilds and the changes. But, the Insect Glaive was so fun. I mean, you're like a little ninja just running around there, and you got to get the little bug out and get it's. So if you're not familiar with the Insect Glaive, there's three little. You have a little insect, and they all have special powers. They can have blast, they can have poison, paralyze, all these things they can do. Stun, I think. Maybe not stun, but I don't remember. But it hits and leaves a little sparkly. You throw the bug out, and you're carrying a glaive, like a big glaive, but it has an insect on your arm. Shoot the insect out, hits the monster, and it leaves a little sparkly. It does damage too, at least on Worlds. It leaves a little sparkly. It
does
it
on Rise too. Okay,
and then when you hit it, it can do that little status effect. Well, you have to call the bug back. Now, once it goes out, it hits wherever the monsters. All of them are a little bit different, but the head is usually red. So trust me, when it'll come together. The bug hits the head of the monster. It turns red. You get it back in, so now you get the red buff, which is strength. Shoot it out, hit the arm or the body. Maybe it's white, which is speed. Call it back in. So now you got speed. Now you got strength and speed. So you got to get three. The orange one is usually a leg. The tail is always green for just life back, vitality. But once you get all three of those, red, white, and orange, now you got a special kind of, now you're super fast and all that. And that's what you were going for every time. So that slowed down the Insect Glaive a little bit. It was fun. And it lasted temporary, and then you had to do it all over again. And so you get so used to that you can't even do it without that buff. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even bother doing it.
No, the damage output is too low at that point.
Yeah.
It takes you forever.
But it lends itself to strategy and stuff, and it's super fun. Of course, you can spring with like a pole vault, and then you can land on the monster's back and ride it. But anyway, so that was my favorite weapon. I picked that in Wilds as well. But did you still go with your dual blades?
So it started out like just playing around. So I did the first beta. I missed the second beta, and of course we played the third beta. And on the first beta, I just spent 45 minutes playing with different weapons, like in the testing grounds where you had the little barrel dummy thing that you could whack on. And I was just trying to see if I could find something that I liked. I kind of liked Char's Blade. I kind of liked Switch Axe, all that, and went through those. But all that to say, I ended up just going back to my dual blades. I like the dual blades, and they were fun. They're fast. Each little hit they do doesn't put out a lot of damage, but they hit fast, and they're like a fury of blows. It's a lot of fun playing them.
Yeah, it was fun. They're flying though. You're just like now. So the Wilds kind of gives you more options when they're flying, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But so yeah, that could be completely different. But the thing about let's just jump into Wilds then real quick. So right away, the game looks good. It got me excited as soon as I turned it on and started seeing the little scenes and stuff like that. I was like, okay, man, this is because you kind of turned me. I wasn't super excited about it, and it's just because I guess I was just into something else. But I turned it on, started watching the cut scenes and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, man, this is kind of getting me hype a little bit again. Then you're riding. The big thing is you get a mount now. So you're riding all over with a mount. There's a bunch of things you can do with this mount we'll talk about, but you know, the characters and all that, I was like, okay, man, I'm kind of can feel this game maybe a little bit now. So I started it and got to the first little town or whatever, you know, and
base camp.
Yeah, the base camp, and got my insect glaive, dude. That's what I was rolling with. So, very first fight, the insect glaive felt a lot different in terms of shooting the bug out. I mean, I'm still trying to do it the same way as you do on wilds. On world. On world, you can shoot a little paintball out, doop, and it sticks to the monster, and it'll go there. The bug will just keep attacking them until you call it back. I couldn't figure out how to do that on this one. Can you do that? Do you know?
I don't know. I didn't dive deep on the insect glaive. I didn't dive deep on the whole marker. I think you do have markers with your little, arm slingshot thingy, but I had a struggle with that too. I guess it's just from being rusty from not playing World for so long. I was having trouble flinging dung pods at a group of monsters, but it's just one of those things where, one, I looked at it like this. It's like, hey, first of all, it's the beta, so everything's going to be kind of rough around the edges and rusty. It was an older build that we were playing, not one of the, builds that's closest to release yet. But yeah, there was some mechanics there were just kind of a little off from what I remember from World.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Because I was trying to shoot the little bug out. You don't have to mark. You can shoot the bug out by doing various things. And when I would push the button, the bug kind of came out and just went kind of like right back to me. And I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to shoot out. And I couldn't quite ever feel confident shooting the bug out to where it needs to go to hit as far as insect glaive stuff. So I'm sure there's a couple little changes with all the weapons like that. That's the only weapon that I really tried and really cared about. But one of the things they did with the insect glaive that's really cool is that, and they made it clear in the tutorial, you can do this. You run up to the monster and you just stab him, boom, and it shoots the insect out at the same time, boom, and then you basically do a backflip, and you hit him as you're flipping out, and the bug comes in and has all three of those colors. So that's cool. So much better. And it seems like the buff lasted a little bit longer. I don't know that for a fact. But it was fighting. It's a different fight. The insect glaive still felt good, but you have to do more of your fighting on the ground now, which kind of defeats the purpose, because you used to could pop up in the air and go across, hitting the monster, minimum light damage, but it's just a constant. And then, boom, when you come down with a hard hit, boom, the final hit, it would throw your guy back up in the air and you could do it again until you run out of stamina, which makes perfect sense. I mean, that's just kind of the fantastical thing, fun thing to do with it. Well, now you don't pop, you don't jump. You can top off like with the javelin or the like a little stick, like a pole vault. Yeah, boom, jump up, do your little moves, light or heavy attack, and then you're going to fall straight to the ground. You can land on them and ride them, but yeah, I hate that. I wish he would let you do the bouncing around. But the monsters still seemed, I know it's beginner monsters, and I killed 2. I saw 3, but I killed 2, and they were pretty easy. I mean, it wasn't anything like cheap or anything.
Yeah.
So it was still fun.
Yeah, the monsters actually were really well designed, I think. As going from World to Wilds, I think they definitely did a good design on them. Every monster I fought, I think I fought 6 or 7, and every one of them, when I get them to a point of beginning weaker, they'd limp back to their cave or nest or whatever. And so that was a good thing, because not all the time in World did they do that. You kind of could beat the fool out of them in the middle of the open area, and they just you kill them right there. But now, you'd beat it, it died, or it would start to die, and it'd walk all, it'd try to go back to kind of, rest up to come back to fight you again. but you could chase it back to its nest, and then you kill it there. And then the thing that I did notice is when you went to the world map, it would say like the monster's carcass where you killed it. So that was like a kind of a neat thing, because in world, when you killed it, the carcass would eventually go away. You wouldn't see it, but it kind of lingered there for a little while. I don't know if that's an intended thing or if it's I think it's intended, a bug in there. But it was kind of neat because you could see where you'd fought monsters and not have to remember. You could see the carcass laying there. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they did a lot of quality of life stuff with that. Like when you're fighting the monsters, and sometimes there's like late game, mid game, you might need a monster part that you have to break off, like a Diablo horn or whatever. And so you can get it by carving if you get lucky. But if you break it off, but in World, you'd break it off, then you got to pick it up. Well, here, it automatically, as soon as you break it, it goes to your inventory. So that's good.
Anything that was broken during the fight, you didn't have to pick up. So these fights would sometimes span a large distance, because if you wounded the animal, it would start to walk off and go to a different area, and you could chase it to that area, and it might try to limp the rest of the way back to its home. So I think that was a great thing there. I mean that was just thinking about that part right there.
Yeah, so and you need to have that. I mean, if you're going to be like in the heat of battle, you don't need to try to remember, oh, where did this little bitty shiny piece go, right? And especially now, because in wilds they have it to where it's multiple enemies. You can have, and you had multiple enemies in worlds, but this is like herds of animals, and you got to kill the alpha, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't need to be. Who knows where parts are breaking off everywhere, and like you said, the strategy it tries to teach you is to hit like maybe the alpha with the dung, so the others leave, and so now you just fight the one. But I end up killing. I try to kill all of them.
Yeah, you're supposed to disperse the herd, because if you try to take on 6 of them at once by yourself, you're gonna get whooped up pretty quick. I mean, they're no joke. They like to jump on you when you're down.
What helped me, man, I don't know if this happened to you, but I went up there to that pack. It's like woolly mammoth looking things. This is so after you kill the main little monster, you kind of trial over, and you're like, whoa, I just started, Oh
yeah.
But it lets you go into the open world, which we'll talk about. It's like a real open area. It's a massive area now, and you can kind of go, and it gives you the map. I love the map. Tells you the elevation now. It's like a 3D map. You got it's a 3-level map. That was really cool, because you could dive to the different levels in it. Yeah, instead of just on the old one, it'd have a number. It's like you just had to know, like, okay, this is what they're telling me to do. Is I got to go around and get up this thing. So you go up the vine or whatever, or go down below. You didn't know until you've done it before, but this one will tell you, that you can just look at it and tell you. But anyway, I came out there into the open world. It was like, okay, go kill this alpha. Here's your strategy. You got your little bow gun and a hook now. That grappling hook's going to be a big play into it. You can just grab stuff as you ride by it, grab a herb, grab whatever, pull the environment down. There's a lot of that. And so as I was fighting that herd, I kind of dunged them, but they kind of ran away, or they got hurt and they kind of all moved over. I just kept fighting them all. I didn't care, because I can still fly a little bit. You're not. If I was old school Insect Glaive, I wouldn't have to worry about it. But anyway, they went out into the open field, and then this other big dragon came down, electric type of thing, and helped me. They were fighting it, and I just kept picking it off. And then I thought about going after it, but I was like, no, let's just do the one thing at a time. And
the dragon would have lit you up. It lit me up. It'll lit you up.
And so anyway, I killed that thing. One of the little peons of the woolly mammoth's body just disappeared. I think he just ran off, got hurt real bad, and ran off. So did the other minion. Well, I found him, killed him. Then the alpha did the same thing. And people were joining my group, man. I didn't shoot an SOS. I didn't do anything. So what they're trying to get away from is where you go to the board. And I did like this, though, man. But, whatever. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. It's probably going to be better. I mean, it's definitely worth a try. Where you go to the board and, a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star hunt. You click it. Then you go out into the world, try to do it. And then people can join that. You can automatically start, hey, let players come in. Or go out there, fire off a flare if you need it. But now it's just open world. and you're kind of hunting. I mean, they'll tell you like, hey, go find this animal, but you don't really do the board anymore. They might have a board for some reason, but it's not like it was in World.
So if you only fought that one and you only didn't get past, and you didn't do anything past that, then you didn't find the board. The board's there still
With the stars?
I don't know if it still has the stars there, but it's still in the format of you can go to the board and select things to fight.
Yeah, but you still kind of just go out into the open world. It didn't like go, okay, remember the things to come down, pick you up, and it takes you to the load screen, and you're loading up a new world with that. I think it just takes you out to the world. Like once you pick the thing to fight.
If you join a party, it'll...
Yeah, you're kind of going to their world, but...
It's going to take you there. It's one of those things where it'll take you there, and I think that's where the secret comes in. I guess I'm saying that right. It's your mount. They call it a secret. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like a raptor bird kind of thing. I guess that's where that comes into play.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, they're kind of doing that still. But anyway, that's one thing they did. Another thing that they did that's cool is that your mount now, you can carry 2 weapons, which is going to be an interesting thing, especially like I keep saying insect glaive, but sorry, that's just what I use. So that's what I'm familiar with. But like, you know, it's kind of a close quarters weapon. So, dude, I just went ahead with that little cannon thing. I've seen it when we were fighting this monster in
the heavy bow gun or the light bow gun.
So you tell me, because it's a thing that I think it's the heavy one. But it was one that
did it shoot really slow?
I didn't shoot it. So what I'm saying is that when I played Worlds the last time and I was into it, we just SOS stuff, and these dudes joined my group, and it was a guy that was fighting that little mud eel thing that goes in the mud and jumps out, and he was just doop, 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 hitting it, and it was sticking to it and then blowing up. Doop, doop, doop. Mm-hmm. Boom! That's what I want. Is that the heavy bow gun?
That could have been the light blow gun, because if it was shooting rapid, it's going to be the light blow gun.
It was like 3. Choo, choo,
choo. I still think that might be the light bow gun. The heavy bow gun is just like a cannon, just like
boom. Maybe I get that.
I mean, it just lights up like that. Yeah, for me, I'm actually going to go with my dual blades, and I'm actually going to go with the regular like bow and arrow bow. yeah, I'm going to go with like the dual blades and the bow. Like I wish I could get if I could do dual blades, I'd do 4 blades. Like you know, I got to be out there like General Grievous from Star Wars. Just go after him.
Yeah, no.
But
sorry, I was making.
I'm gonna carry the bow because the bow looks stout this time. I mean, it was pretty good last time, but this time it just looks insane. I watched this one video. This dude literally drop a beast with a couple of these bow shots. He's just shooting up in the air, and it was raining down on him. It was insane.
Oh man, the bow sounds cool too. Definitely a range weapon.
Sick looking. And I think that's what they're aiming for, is trying to push people to use close ranged and a long ranged.
Well, just
now, granted,
anything,
you could go. Because I did at one time put on the dual blades and the insect glaive, because you can do that. You can carry any 2 weapons.
Yeah.
But you have to be on your secret to switch weapons.
Yeah, you have to be on your mount to get to switch it. So, but like, I mean, you could get like a hunting horn, jump off, give yourself a buff, switch over. I mean, there's a million things you can do. But yeah, I like the range, and it's great. That's a great idea. It's kind of like one of those things where you're like, man, why did we not get this before?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean,
like even just go to your camp and do it, you know. But
exactly. I mean, until you think about it, like, how many times do you go, like, let's just say bow hunting, and you don't carry a knife on you? You know, it's like one of those comments. It's one of those common sense things. You got a close quarters weapon on you, and you got a long range weapon on you.
Well, it's like, you in Monster Hunter, at least I do, and I think a lot of people do. You did. I mean, everybody I know does. So you find your weapon and you stick with it. You really don't try nothing new, because that learning curve is pretty steep.
Very steep.
But if you don't force it, but hey, I can have another weapon, so I will slowly, if I get a bow or with a gun, I'm going to go out there and initially start the fight with it, then I'm probably just going to switch over. And then as soon as it runs off, I'm going to hit it from the distance. And then, so I'm going to learn a little bit about that weapon, so it kind of forces me into that expanding my knowledge type of thing on the weapons.
It does, and the good thing is when you're fighting some of those, once you start getting into high rank and you start fighting some of those low ranks just to gather materials, then that'd be a great time for you to like go, oh, well, I'll use this weapon I haven't used in a little while that, I carry with me, and kind of buff up on it some and see what happens. And it kind of opens that up, because in World, you really picked a weapon, you stuck with it because that's just kind of the drive you went, because you're always trying to gather materials to create a better version of it and build better, weapons and armor. So I really think that this is going to open up Wilds, one, to more people and a little bit more versatility too, where you can have these really cool combos. Like, I was listening to one person talk. They're like, man, I'm fixing to ride the heavy bow gun and the light bow gun. And I'm like, that's insane. I mean, why?
Yeah.
You're just always way far away. And because you can only carry so much ammo, you're using the same ammo. You're going to burn through all the ammo, But they were just thinking of things like that. So, I mean, it's going to create some really interesting group
Combos.
battles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the group battles too, man. You start getting 4 people in there that have, 4 different, so it's 8 different weapons that can be there.
Hey, you can switch just at any time. You just got to call your secret over, jump on it, switch, jump off, and you're good to go. And I loved how quick they did that. That was really nice and seamless, because like you didn't have to like wait. It was like you whistle, the secret runs up, you jump, your character jumps on it, switch weapons, and jump off, and you go to town. And the fact that you can fight on the back of the secret. Now, granted, it's not very strong hits, but you can at least do that and get you into the fight quicker.
How did you get off the secret?
Depends on if I was near a monster or not. If you're near a monster, you can do like, I think it was like square and triangle or something like that.
You push
it's
like square and X or something. Yeah, I was like, why am I going to push 2 buttons to get off this thing?
It would make him jump and do an attack. And so I could do a jump and do a spinning attack with the dual blades and hit the monster. Or I could just jump off, because I think it's like either square or triangle that would just make him get off.
I pushed every button. I couldn't figure out how to just get off. I had to push a combo to get off. So like, but yeah, I mean, I can imagine like 4 dudes, 4 people riding up on a monster. Oh, there he is. He's eating. Remember how you can kind of like get him to not attack you at first, and then everybody pulls off and pulls like heavy guns, just lays into the dude for like the first part of the battle, and just, hey, let's just hit him. Somebody's going to get charged, but we ain't all going to get charged. So let's all just keep shooting him. Oh, that could be funny, dude. That could be cool.
I mean, it's just crazy to think about that. And if you get with a good group that y'all understand the mechanics really well, the abilities of flanking the monsters going to be greatly increased, because you could easily have one person that's maybe charge blade but steps out with their bow gun out of range, just in out of charge blade range but to bow gun range, and starts hammering it to grab its attention, to grab aggro, while the others are just waylaying on it. And then once the aggro goes over there, have the other person switch to their charge, their bow gun, and shoot it and bring aggro back, and have those aggro switching. There's a lot of possibilities. Lights it up, because I mean, if you start doing that, you could potentially get the monster in kind of a, I wouldn't say stun phase, but in a way of where the monster can't really throw its heavy attack because it's constantly changing its aggro.
Yeah.
And so that I mean, it could be a huge advantage, and that's really awesome to think that, and to think of the little strategies you can come up with.
Yeah, that's going to be fun, man. I mean, it is, there's a lot of possibilities there. That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like about it with those Seekers, man, is that that really helps out, is you just jump on the back of it and it'll go towards your objective.
See, that's what I didn't like. I did not.
You don't have to. You can make it control it how you want to, but
I didn't like the controls of the Secret, mainly because of that right there.
You calling it a secret?
And what I would a secret, I think, is what it's called.
Okay, secret, like a secret, or yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what it's, your mount. I was calling it seeker. So, I thought that's what you called it.
And so, anyways, like I noticed, like it did that auto track, and now if I was fine with just going straight to the ejection, fine, great. But I was like, man, I want to start checking this out and checking this out. Well, I'd pull away and go a little ways, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it went back onto the, back to tracking on that track, and I thought I'd pulled it off. Like I read the instructions on how to take it off of the auto pull, and I thought I did that, and every time I'd find it pulling itself back.
Yeah.
And I'd be in and I'd like have wandered off pretty far and be in a weird place, and it'd slam me into a wall. And I'm like,
it's probably still buggy.
And I figured that, but that was one thing I'm like, I hope that isn't like the hard code there for it, and it's going to be like that during there. But I mean, like I said, it's a beta. That was just one of the things I didn't like. And then two, I found myself fumbling for dung pods to shoot off my arm slingshot. And I don't know if that was just me being rusty or just some of the few changes in the way they've done that. So that was just a little frustrating there. So I did start to set up a radial wheel that had just my slinger pod stuff on it. So I was starting to do that. And once I got that set, it made it a little bit more seamless, but it was still a little bit of a pain because it wasn't so easily done. Like, because if you go into radial wheel and you push over left, but you let go to the center and then you let go of your radial command, it'll do whatever was that left thing. It's not like it takes it off of it. It just kind of did it.
Yeah.
And that was a little frustrating, but I think that I'm hoping that was just, beta and still, a little bit of a bug from the beta. So
yeah, it's definitely like, there's some quality of life stuff, but it's really, to me, initially, I was just like, man, this is like I'll be honest with you. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say about this. This is like Monster Hunter World's 1.5. All of the ingredients and stuff you can make and buy, it's all the same. I didn't see anything new. I'm sure they might have a couple things new, but it was like, all life potions and high potions. Like, ingredients are even the same. Honey and whatever it was. Herbs and honey, I think. Or no, it'd be a potion and honey. Herbs make potions, and one potion and honey, I believe, makes a mega potion.
I start laughing and saying how you're like, it's like Monster Hunter World 1.5. When Monster Hunter World came out, we're of course still playing Destiny and Destiny 2. It makes me kind of think of that because it's like, yeah, you get to start all over with nothing. Because Destiny did that to you.
Yeah.
But at least you get to make a new character, and this is like a whole new character and a new start. And the game does feel different. I will say that. It does feel different. One of the things just in the dual blades arena that I haven't touched on yet, they have so this is something that was like, I liked and didn't like. One, in World, you could press, I think it was like right trigger, and it would make the camera lock behind you to where whenever you turned, that's what you saw it in front of you. This one, I could easily get the monster between me and the camera.
Yeah.
And so I would see like just the white lines representing where my body was on the other side. Well, I found out when I hold, I think it was right trigger and then, left trigger and hold it, it would go into a targeting mode. Now, this targeting mode is different from what it was in World, because once I held it, I'd see these red spots on the monster. That showed where I had weakened it or wounded it. And then if I pressed right bumper, I would do this special attack where he would do this flurry and then like jump back and then launch the grappling hook and grab back and then shoot back to the monster and start whacking him again and do all kinds of, do a really cool combo off just this one button press. And the red spot would go away after you did that, and you would have to wound it again. So as long as you're wounding the animal, which pretty much is pretty easy to do, you would have these spots come up whenever you held down the left trigger. And I thought that was a really cool new addition because it's an extra kind of like mode, because in Dual Blades you had Demon mode, and there's a secondary mode that they have now in it, and I didn't really get the mechanics of it as much, but it seemed like I could do combos a little bit faster than normal mode in it, but Demon mode was still the way to go. Once you built up your Demon mode bar, hit Demon mode, just drill that monster, because you could, all the combos were pretty much still the same from World for that. But yeah, that new little addition of that,
so they let you target the weaknesses and stuff.
Target attack. You
can target like wounds and stuff like that. That's a new thing, which is really cool. I like that too. That's really good.
You could actually see the wounds on the monster. Yeah. Like I could see the leg get cut and see the cut on it. It would go away if I didn't just focus on it, and then I could cut it again. But it was really nice to actually see the wounds and see it kind of weakened, and you feel like you're actually weakening it,
Yeah, they let you target. They did better with targeting. The non-targeting was kind of the thing in Monster Hunter for a long time. You
It
just
really
had
was.
to be good at it, you know, and it's just kind of like, man, but now they're letting you target, so they're changing it up a little bit. So we'll see, man, all the other stuff. That was a very quick demo. One thing I forgot to mention too, forgot, is that, you know, you don't have to be online. So like, I don't know if you have to be online to play, but you can call in 4 NPCs, three other NPCs to come fight for you. They don't have to be real people. Mm-hmm. So for later on, you know, once the game kind of comes and goes, you can still experience everything if you're having trouble firing off and get some NPCs. I don't know how good I didn't do it, but so I'm assuming they're good, you know, but you can have 4 other you know, computer AI hunters, 3 others, 4 total.
Yeah, I always had people jumping in with me, like,
I did too.
Constantly. It was great.
Yeah.
If you want to check out the gameplay, I actually did mine on my Twitch. I streamed it, so
yeah, I'll have
you can
gameplay on
watch
this YouTube
it.
too.
I need to download it and put it over onto our YouTube channel as well. But if you go to my Twitch, just look up Clearfire. It'll probably be my last played game. So, but yeah, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. It took me a little while to get back to the swing of it because it's a huge learning curve. It is one of those games that it's gonna take you playing the tutorial, which heck, the whole story of the game is a tutorial basically, until you get into fighting the big monsters. So
yeah, man. You know, it's interesting for me as far as you know, I'm concerned with Monster Hunter. Again, I don't know. It's like one of those kind of like games I can take or leave, honestly, I feel like. And then after playing, when I do get into it, I'm like, man, this is one of the best games ever. I'm like, I can't wait to go play it. And it's kind of one of those things where you got to be working on something. And anyway, when we like working on something, getting your armor built up, they got combos. You know, if you're not familiar with Monster Hunter, you know, you kill a monster and they got special abilities. Like if it's an electric monster, you're probably gonna skin them and make leggings that are resistant to shock or something. But there's so many more other abilities they have.
Oh,
and you can
so in depth.
You rack and stack your build, and that's what makes it so fun to your style.
Armor pieces with the different abilities and buffs and debuffs on it. Your weapons that can have different abilities, buffs and debuffs on it. Your Palico that can have all kinds of stuff. I mean, my Palico was actually pretty good this time, better than World in my opinion, a little more responsive. Which is great because when you're in there, it's just way. The bad thing is about dual blades is you're going to take a bunch of hits. You're going to get hit by the monster a lot because you're up in its face all the time, and you can't always just quickly roll out of the way. My Palico was pretty responsive on getting me heal potions, and pretty responsive on just actually putting down some licks on the different monsters. So I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like after we kind of talk about our different strategies that people can do, and then just playing it. I mean, I would probably definitely check it out, especially once you're getting it, and then I'm sure maybe a couple of the friends will get it, and then we can play together, and that'd be fun. That was what's so fun about it before, man. So
that was so much fun.
I like games that are genuinely fun to play, and you help each other out. Are generally fun to play, obviously, but fun to play multiplayer.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, those are fun like that, Monster Hunter. So, yeah,
I'm ready to see what special events they have for it. So.
Yeah, they're gonna have I mean, that kind of stuff is one of those.
Getting the 8-bit Mega Man costume for Palico, that was so much fun, dude. Getting the Ryu and Ken skins, Street Fighter skins.
Oh yeah,
all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's the good thing about having Monster Hunter made by Capcom. You got a bunch of that.
You got a lot of
tie in there. And it's really cool when they tie it in there. So look for that. They've already announced their first spring update that's going to have a new monster already. I forget the name of the monster, but it was like one of those graceful electric monsters. So it looks like it's going to be one of those sick, fast fights.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I know I sound and probably just look so indifferent to it, and I said I was, but I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. I mean, I am perfect. I would not be surprised if I crank this up and then it's like my new favorite game. I really would.
I mean, I already know it's going to be mine. It's
Worlds was for a while.
Skull and Bone has not seen my ship since before the new year. I haven't played it any this year at all.
Yeah.
So that once I started getting hype about Monster Hunter, I was like, I'm leaving it alone, and I'm ready to jump on that monster hunting extravaganza again.
Well, cool. Check us out, guys. HnKEXP.com. If you're watching on YouTube, you can we got a podcast as well. If you're listening on the podcast, check us out on YouTube at HnKEXP. And if you're, like I said, watching on YouTube, you can get us on any one of your podcast hosting systems, HnK Video Game Experience.com. And we'll see you later.
All right. Take care, everybody.
I get money.